time anyway.
Sure. Just the bummer about not having her is like, I'm most interested in getting like an overall.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, so I'll share my screen. So if she joins, we can jump back to the start again. So basically, I wanted to look into doing some sort of event focusing on a specific sector for a little while, and we've got quite a few customers in the automotive space, and personally the transformation in that industry I find very interesting. I think what's going on there with the switch towards things like autonomous vehicles, electric vehicles, and how how some of that stuff can be monetized. We're seeing industries move. So some of these companies moving towards things like automated deliveries and food and all the rest of it. All of these kind of things that you can do, and obviously things like ride hailing and ride sharing, and all the rest of it. So I was really keen to sort of try and see if we could explore that in some way. And then do some sort of event around it. So I basically reached out to all of the automotive clients that we have. So JTO Dynamics, McLaren, but these are different parts of McLaren. So Michael McCannis works in McLaren Automotive, so the road cars. Paul Thomas works on McLaren Applied Technologies, who are more on the data analytics side. They don't just do automotive, but that is one of the areas they do. They also do some stuff for the Formula One team as well.
Interesting. So it's data and analytics, okay, for Formula One.
So a lot of AI and that sort of thing. They build simulators, for example. They build simulators for the Formula One cars. They also build simulators for the road cars now as well. That's a new thing that they've done. And Honda, that's the motorsport. So the guys at Honda, Honda Motorsports, they make the Formula One. They're the guys that do the Formula One engines for Toro Rosso and soon to be Red Bull. JLR. Hey. Hello.
Hey guys, so sorry.
No, you're all right. Don't worry. We were recording just in case you couldn't make it, but I was just basically talking as if you were in the room. So I'll start again.
Thanks, Matt.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So I was just saying to David, basically, I wanted to do an event for quite some time. I was focusing on a specific sector, and I think the automotive space, given some of the transformation that's going on there, with the move towards electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles, and lots of disruptors coming in from people who haven't traditionally made cars, because they're software companies rather than manufacturing companies. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are moving into that space that weren't traditionally there, like Google and Apple and Dyson and all these other people, and Uber as well, of course. And essentially, I wanted to try and see if we could do an event around, I guess tech in the space, get the future of the industry, where we could possibly play a part. I don't really want it to be like us just pushing Jira. I don't really think that's going to be beneficial for anyone, because that will probably come across as a sales pitch or whatever, and I don't think people would come. So I've spent quite a bit of time reaching out to a bunch of organizations that we work with. So you'll see JLR, Honda. So so Laura, Honda, the department that I've got, this James Egan guy, they're Honda Motorsports, so they make the Formula One engines. Mm-hmm. Force India, I've got a call with the guy in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to speak to him. The two McLaren, the three McLaren guys I spoke to, Michael and Matthew here, they work on the automotive side, so they do the road cars, and Paul Thomas works for McLaren Applied Technologies, who are the data analysts and scientists. They do a lot of the AI around not just the road cars, but the Formula One team as well.
So, just to back up, are these current customers, or are they not adaptive as customers at all, or is it a mix?
So Adam Garner is a customer.
Okay.
These guys work for slightly different departments. Adrian Sutton is a licensed user of ours. Hugh Edwards is his boss. Paul Hayward was a customer of ours for AstraZeneca and then moved to JLR. And I just kept in contact with him. We've not worked with him since he's been at JLR, but he has been a client of ours in the past.
Okay, so these are all prospective clients you want to invite.
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Okay.
So Honda are a managed services client. Adam is a managed services client.
Okay.
McLaren are managed service, both automotive and applied technologies and managed services clients, and we do quite a lot of PS. JTO Dynamics, who do they do analytics around the automotive space. So, for example, when an organisation is like trying to work out what kind of tyre tread to put on their car and stuff, JTO Dynamics do a lot of the research and analysis around that kind of stuff, and they put out products that the manufacturers will buy. They're a professional services client, but they also use our products. I think all of these guys that are clients all use our products in one form or another as well. So JLR use PC4J, Force India I think use Script Runner. I think Honda use Script Runner, McLaren definitely use Script Runner, and JTO use Script Runner as well, and I think one other one, but it escapes me. But they're PS, MS, and product clients are the people that I've asked their opinion on what they quite want to see.
So there's no question that it's super fascinating, all of the change that's happening, right? Do you get a sense for like what kind of story would really interest these guys?
I mean, so this is the thing. This is why I was hoping to pick your brains on this, really. So the information that I've received from various people is Formula One. That first of all, they're going to be the toughest ones to get to attend anyway, because actually their schedule's so crazy. Yeah. But what would interest them is going to be something specific to them. Mm-hmm. Rather than if we just did something general about DevOps in the automotive space, it might not necessarily pull them in. So in my head, there would be. I think it's actually tying the theme together that I'm possibly struggling with, because actually I think DevOps came up with virtually everybody, as you would expect. Almost everyone mentioned it in one form or another. I think the one guy I mentioned around how some of the changes in the automotive space could be monetized, like I said to you, with things like electric, self-driving cars doing pickups, or whatever, whichever industry they might potentially want to monetize it through. I think doing something like that could potentially be quite interesting. Also, I mean, with Formula One guys, I don't know exactly yet. There might be something to talk to Shona about. Obviously, talking about DevOps would possibly work. A couple of the regulations that came up as well were quite. So ISO 26262. That's a bit of a mouthful. I've been doing some background reading on that. That's come up a couple of times. So Paul Thomas here said, how can Agile be more compatible with some of the heavily regulated parts of the industry?
That's probably a pretty meaty topic.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I've been doing a bit of reading on these topics to try and sort of understand what they mean. So ISO 26262 is, I don't fully understand it, but from my initial reading is that it's regulations around things like, I think, emissions and general the safety of the car and certain things that need to be hooked up in the car for overall safety and that sort of thing. Which I guess because it is very safety critical, you can maybe understand why it might fall into a waterfall methodology, because you can't be so free and easy when it comes to things like that, I guess. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that came up a few times. I did something called A-Spice, which I haven't found. I don't know what that means yet, but that came up once or twice as well. So there's a few different bits and pieces that people want to see. And I mean, a lot of it was around Agile and CI/CD and DevOps and all that sort of stuff, as you would expect. Yeah. And as I say, I don't want it to just be us pushing Jira. I want it to be about, the conceptually within the industry, because I think that would be the biggest draw. And then we can start to filter things in as we go.
I mean, it seems to me like if we pick a meaty topic that some of these guys are really interested in, I mean, we definitely we're relying on pulling in probably ideally at least 2 of them to actually present on it.
So this is the thing. So yes. So basically, JLR, I stumbled across a guy called Chris Hill who did a talk at a DevOps event that Matt Saunders went to about a month ago. I came across it completely by accident on LinkedIn. It just so happened that Matt was in the crowd. He works in the infotainment team at JLR, and apparently from everyone I've spoken to at JLR, he's the one who really has his shit together. So basically what they do is all of the sort of the in-car entertainment, a lot of the stuff around IoT and all that sort of stuff. His team are really pushing ahead and doing some really good stuff with that. And his talk was really interesting. Now, I would really, really like him to be able to get involved if we can. I mean, I could send you the link to the talk. I think it was really good. I sent him a message on LinkedIn. He hasn't got back to me, but I asked the guys here that I know, and turns out they know him. So I've asked them to reach out.
I mean, yeah, it feels to me from everything you said, and you've given a ton of great information here, like, you know, especially given the fact that you didn't come at it with a concept first, and like, you know.
Well, I didn't want to start. I didn't want to go in and be like, "This is what we want to talk about. Would you be interested?" I wanted to say, "Look, what kind of content would you like to see?" And then I thought, if we can pull in a bunch of stuff, you can kind of then start to tie it together and put a message together that people generally would be interested in.
But it does have to be a hook, and it has to be a hook that you know, obviously under the surface, like, gives us some opportunity to win business. I think on both sides of the house.
I mean, I'm thinking just so one thing that I have thought about in terms of location. So in the UK, I don't know if you guys are familiar or not, in the UK, really most of the factories for the big automotive industries are Midlands. Okay. So in between sort of Coventry, Milton Keynes and Woking, where Simon lives, there's a block there, which is where most of these places are based, partly because it's, for the Formula One teams, it's because it's close to Silverstone. Mm-hmm. And the manufacturing teams, I'm not sure. But anyway, I guess it's because it's in the middle of the country, I suppose. So I was thinking of doing it there because I thought that would be somewhere in that region, because that would be the biggest pull. I think one objective would certainly be, if we start to do this stuff and, you know, our name's out there, then if we can pull in other organisations that maybe aren't clients, because all of these people will have worked in the industry for other companies that they'll know, and they'll know other people in other places, and it will be a very tight-knit thing, as a lot of these industries tend to be. Mm-hmm. If they can pull in other people as well, then the benefit, I think, would be that we can be seen as the go-to partner in the automotive space, particularly in the UK, for anything capacity related. That to me is a tangible goal.
That feels like the highest goal.
Yeah.
Yep. I like that. So, Laura, are you on board with that idea for a goal?
You still there, Laura?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I guess so. Did I miss this? How many people are we expecting or trying to get at this event?
Well, this is the thing. I mean,
I'd say let's not go there just yet. That's
okay.
A bit too nitty gritty. But more what I was interested in, and I think Sam gave a good sense of it, was like, what is our actual goal? And the goal is to be, seen as a leading technology partner in the automotive space. Mm-hmm. And so I think along those lines, Sam, what feels like the best thing for me, especially given that we have Matt Saunders, is perhaps, like DevOps in a fast-changing automotive tech environment, something like that. It feels like, and perhaps Matt could do a talk, and maybe if we get this JLR guy who has presented.
I mean, the thing is, I've not spoken to him, and it might be very difficult to get him, but I'll certainly want to try. His talk was really good, and Simon seemed up for it, and Matt said he'd be a really good keynote speaker.
And that talk was at a DevOps event, not in an automotive industry event, right? So in theory, he could give the same talk to a new audience for this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, indeed. Here we go. I'll just put it. I'll put it in the things for you guys if you want to have a look at it at some point.
And this is in the UK. We're looking at it.
Yeah, so we're thinking of doing one in the UK. What did also come up? I mean, this might be a slightly longer term thing. Maybe, I don't know. Is because Demicon over in Stuttgart have a lot of automotive clients over in Germany. We were thinking maybe we could do a two-pronged one in partnership with them, possibly where they
kick your team fees really.
or whoever, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like ideally this would be something that we could repurpose in areas where the automotive industry is heavy. So kind of like an out-of-the-box event.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Simon mentioned sort of repurposing a lot of the stuff that they did at the last DevOps.
Yeah.
We did at Silverstone. I missed that. I was on holiday, so I couldn't go. But I don't think that many people came. So I wanted to try maybe go a little bit further and get more of a hook. So I
don't think that many people came, and I think Matt had a presentation, but I'm not sure it was really focused on automotive. It was more on.
Well, Matt doesn't have much experience in the automotive space. He's never worked in it, so that's why. Maybe because it possibly came across as a touch generic.
So the other thing is that we have Raju, who's going to be speaking at Summit, who works for Tesla. However, Tesla is very, very, very careful about making sure that his content is generic and doesn't give away, you know what I mean? He can't get up there and say, this is how we do it at Tesla.
Yeah, of course.
And Laura, is he based in California?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, so for this particular event, that would be a really tough ask to actually.
No, it was more just saying that, like, what I'm imagining is that we would probably have a different. Maybe we focus on this UK event, but we could get potentially speakers in wherever other region we choose to take it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What about Micah for Uber, or is he not allowed to do this kind of stuff? So
again, he's based in California.
Yeah, I know, but he would definitely be up for it, wouldn't he?
He would be up for it. Uber is a nightmare, PR-wise. They actually built an app for HipChat and couldn't come to Atlassian Summit and talk about it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I wonder, are they in, is the sense here that Uber is evil, like as dramatic as it is in the US?
No.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a hard one to gauge because actually all of these organizations are very traditional manufacturing companies, whereas Uber are the new kids on the block. So
it may not matter for these guys.
It may not matter. I think actually, yes, some of these people.
So I actually sat down with Micah briefly in San Francisco, and he gave me the clear impression that actually Uber getting their brand on anything would be very difficult.
Okay. Well, I think this Jaguar guy would be great. He would be really, really good.
One question, Sam. The previous event that was done also had a DevOps theme?
It did, but I think it was slightly more generic, as I say.
I wonder if that's a reason, like if that's a concrete reason not to make this one a DevOps theme, or whether or not, I don't know. I'd love to see like how that was presented.
Talk to Stephen Morris. I mean, as I say, I missed it, which is annoying because I would have gone. I was in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I think so. The one thing that I would put out there is we actually have a partnership. They are obligated to give us case studies and marketing information with Sahara Forest India. Yeah. They've had really bad press for being basically broke lately, so I don't know if that is gonna.
Yeah. I know what you mean. They're coming out of administration, but they've been in it, so they're not exactly a success story.
Yeah,
the administration bankruptcy here.
As a race team, they're totally a success story.
Yeah.
Like
they're like
they're kicking ass with like a tenth of the budget of several of the teams that are way behind them. So.
It's a good story. My point was that it might be hard for them to get approval, but they've literally signed agreement saying they have to do marketing for us, so we might as well use them.
Yeah, well, I'm chatting to a guy. So there's a guy called Bill Peters here, Chief of IT. He responded to me about 3 weeks ago, and he was like, "Look, we're in administration. I'm quite busy." He was perfectly nice about it. He was like, "Look, I'm sorry, I can't have a chat at the moment." But now they're out, I'm hoping I can grab him in the next couple of weeks. If I can, would you guys want to join the call to talk to him?
I'd be happy to.
Because at the moment, I've just been calling people I know and just being like, "What would you want to see?" But if we're actually one, because the thing is, I can get to a certain point, but I've never done anything like this before, and I've just been trying to collect as much content as I can. I really want to push on with this, but I'm struggling to sort of think how we would take it to the next stage.
Yeah, I mean, we need, I think, to get it to the next stage, we need to figure out the theme of the content, right? And so, or the theme of the story.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next thing that has to be.
So one of the things that I would recommend, because we do have customers that we can mention, like BMW, like Tesla, is doing, like, I'm not sure if I missed this at the beginning of the call, if you're thinking about doing like a full day, is that you just break it up into kind of mini presentations. So you do automation in automotive software development. You do one on the DevOps, tips for automotive and DevOps, then have 2 customers speak.
Yeah, no, it's an idea. I think because at this point, because some of the stuff we have is quite broad. I mean, because some of the stuff around regulations came up quite a bit, I think that's going to be. I think we should focus on that if we can. I mean, but I don't know how we would do that.
Because we don't have the specific expertise.
Yeah, the thing is that if we're getting up there, so we could talk about it at a high level. And I guarantee you that if we've had consultants work on car companies, they've probably come across this. You just want to be pretty careful about what you're getting up there saying about.
So for me, the one person that strikes me as someone that would probably be really good for this and would do the homework and also deliver the talk pretty well. You might disagree with this, but I think Dan Hardiker would probably be quite good for that. What do you think? Or do you not agree?
I don't know him yet.
No, you not met him yet. He's our CTO.
We met once.
He's done shitloads of talks, but I mean, what do you think, Laura? You might not agree, but
no, I think that he'd be a good speaker. I think I was thinking more someone like Phil Fox who would. So Dan's very much kind of high level. It could probably introduce it conceptually, and then someone more like Steve Harper or Phil Fox that could get into the nitty gritty of how to be ISO compliant using Atlassian tool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could be interesting. Okay, I mean, I could talk to Dan and see what background he's got and see if he knows anything about it. I mean, he lives in the area, and I know he's very keen on that stuff. He's a massive F1 fan, for example, and he knows a lot. He knows quite a lot about cars and what people are doing.
He could probably pull something together pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think he'd probably be from if we were to offer someone up, I think he would be. But I know what you're saying. We would have to control what he says. He may have a tendency to go off and do his own thing.
Yeah.
So we need to control that and make sure the message is right. And because at the end of the day, the people that we be talking to are in the industry, and we don't want to be seen to like telling them how to do their jobs in a condescending way. So
condescending / inexperienced.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, exactly. So
great combination. Let's see. I could plant the seed at the poker night next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. We need a hook, and it seems we're kind of lacking the direct expertise.
We've kind of been skirting around the edges a little bit. So the guy that I know at JLR, or the guy called Hugh Wynne Edwards, he's the one who asked Chris if he's willing to speak to me. This Chris being the DevOps speaker. Mm-hmm. So I'll wait to hear from him.
My gut feeling, so I'll reach out to Steve Morris and see if he can point me to a page, like a dead Eventbrite page that was assigned up for last time. I want to see how they presented it last time and just kind of make sure we do something different than that. But it feels to me like we could either do an all-day, multiple automotive technology topics, so a DevOps section, perhaps a regulatory section, or if it was not, we could take one of those themes and run with it, just as long as we find the expert content.
Yeah. That's the thing. If we're going to go something sort of regulation specific to fill a whole day is going to be very difficult.
Yeah. So but hey, a half day event would totally be great if the whole thing is valuable.
And if these people, if it's from 1 till 5 or something, these people could easily, if it's going to be near their offices, within an hour or whatever, they can work a half day and then come down. And
the big question is who can present something with authority on that.
That's the thing. So that's why an outside speaker will probably need to get drafted in. Because whilst we've got quite a few automotive, well, actually, we've got a lot of automotive clients. Oh shit, Nick's joined. All right, Nick. Sorry, our call's starting in a minute. Same room, but you can listen to this if you like. What was I going to say? One of the things we have, whilst we have a lot of automotive clients, one of the problems we have is that to this point we haven't asked why enough. And I'm hoping that doing something like this will tease out far more information about some of the business problems that these people have, and will then lead us on to become far more of a trusted advisor, rather than, oh yeah, we'll go in and implement Jira for you, without actually asking any real questions about what the end goal is and what they're actually looking to release and that sort of thing. So I think that's a gap that I want to fill. At the moment, we're kind of on the outside. We've asked the right questions now.
Yep.
And the same with product as well. It's the same as like, okay, you use ScriptRunner, but what is it there to? What is ScriptRunner actually achieving for you? Is that actually show us where it's making you 1/10 of a second quicker on the track, or where it's contributing towards that at least anyway? So I don't know if we have that either yet. So if we can start to bring some of that stuff in some way, I think that would make us more of an authoritative voice, which I'm hoping is what this will help us with.
Yep. We totally agree on all of that for sure. Well, I think the next step then is to just keep poking the channels that you have to find these expert voices, and then maybe it becomes clear to us whether or not we have an expert on a particular topic, and then we can tailor the event to that and add our own voice.
I mean, would it be worthwhile? I don't know I'm meeting McLaren for lunch on Monday in Woking. Do you want to come?
I could, definitely.
I'm meeting with Matthew and Michael.
I will be in Scotland, but I feel you two are more than capable.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Well, I'm meeting them between 1 and 3. It's up to you. So it's Michael McManus and Matthew Chafe who both offered up some. So Michael didn't actually give us any ideas. He just said he'd have a think about it.
Yeah.
Matthew's feedback wasn't that great, so I'm hoping we can maybe tease some better stuff out of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm meeting them on Monday, so you're more than welcome to join if you want.
What's the purpose of the talk, like, ostensibly? Is it a catch-up kind of thing?
Oh, while we're meeting them? Yeah, I mean, they're my accounts. They've been designated as one of my accounts, so I just want to do a bit of. One of the reasons I want to go is I actually want to find out a lot about what they're actually developing and what they're actually putting out there. So we can, and a little bit more about who some of the key players are and that sort of thing, and who drives change and all that stuff.
You guys, I gotta hop off, but it looks good.
Well, thank you. Bye. No problem. Take care. Bye.
Cool. Let me see if I can fit that into my schedule, but it sounds like.
Well, it's a bit short notice, so if you can't, don't worry about it. But I mean, the thing is, actually, if you can't, I don't know if you want to just give me some questions that I can take with me.
No, actually, Monday.
It's in Woking, which is it's where Simon lives. It's about 20 minutes outside London from Waterloo. And then I think Hyder's coming, so you can pick us up hopefully, because it's a sort of a 10-15 minute drive from the whatchamacallit. So
yeah, I think I'd be in for that.
Yeah. Okay. Because I mean, and some of the conversation is going to be account mapping, but if you're there as well, we can tease some useful stuff out of it.
Yeah, I mean, do all the stuff that you need to do at that meeting, and then I'll try to help out with the conversation around not only this event, but perhaps.
Well, hopefully, some of the questions that I'll be asking will give you a bit more of a picture as well of what people are doing too.
Sounds like
so. Okay, well, I've added you, so.
Great. Yeah, cool. What do the logistics look like? So someone drives?
Well, Hyder's coming from. Well, I haven't actually got a motor. I was going to get the train, and I think Hyder was going to meet me at the station. Sorry, Nick. Won't be long.
We can talk about this after. I'm here on call.
Okay, I'm pretty slammed this afternoon.
Yeah.
Nick and I won't need the full hour, I think we've got.
Just ping me with your logistic plan. I can either train or I can drive.
Okay, cool. All right. I need to talk to Hyder. Hyder's coming in later anyway, so when he's here, I'll ask him as well.
The McLaren guys would get a kick out of it. We could take my 68 Fiat.
How big is it? There's going to be quite a lot of us.
It's
There's about 6 of us, 7 of us.
okay.
Yeah, this is possibly another couple of them coming as well. Nick, I'm just going to go and get a drink, and I'll be back down in a minute, okay?
Yeah, no rush.
All right, thanks, mate.
Sorry. Yeah, you have it.
Yeah, I sort of
Agreed. And this has been the meeting for a while.
All right, Nick, I'm here now. Sorry about that, mate.